Welcome, I'm Tom Cook, Deputy Mayor of Freehold Township. I'm here tonight from the Mayor's desk with my guest John Swisher, a member of the Foodstock Committee, and we're here to introduce Foodstock to those people in the community, the viewers who don't know anything about it or haven't heard about it or may have heard about it and said, what do? They got an event coming up in February and then the big event in October, and then it's an all year long experience.
Yep.
So John's here and he's going to walk us through the history of Foodstock and more details about the event. It's all about you now, John.
Fantastic. So the question, what is Foodstock? Foodstock is basically a grassroots movement of some neighbors in Freehold Township, that are committed to raising food and gathering food for people that are in need. We have a mission statement associated with it. Is to facilitate the movement of food from those who have been abundantly blessed through those that are in need, and to inspire future generations to do the same. And that's kind of what our core beliefs are.
Can I interrupt for a second? Wasn't it started as an idea of one of your nieces who was 15 or 16 in high school as a community service project?
Yes.
And it's evolved into what it is today.
Yeah, we didn't necessarily plan this. My niece, Mara, was at St. John Vianney's. This is back in 2010, and she had decided for her senior project she was going to volunteer at the local food bank. So she was at the local food bank, and my brother Bob came to her and said, well, how are things going? And she said, well, not so good in as much as there's no food. So Bob, being the visionary that he is, said, well, let's go and try and get some food for the food bank. And we decided to have just a little gathering in his backyard, and we called it A Ton of Fun. And our goal was to raise 2,000 pounds, okay, for local food banks. And it grew a little bit in as much as we had run into a neighbor of ours that was in a band. And we asked him, would you play at this event to just draw more people in, gather more food? No problem at all. So in Bob's backyard at 20 Randolph Road in Freehold Township back in 2010, we had this gathering with the idea of gathering 2,000 pounds of food. And it went very well. The band played, everybody had a great time. And when we tallied everything up, we had gathered 6,000 pounds of food. It was just amazing. It was a great time. Everybody was very happy with it. And we got done and we're like, well, that was fairly simple. So we got together afterwards during that winter, I suppose, and started to plan out what we were going to do for the next year. Let's try and do this again. And that's kind of when Foodstock was born. I'll credit Henry Lubis, one of the members of our committee, with coming up with the name of Foodstock. Basically after Woodstock, okay, stocking the shelves, Foodstock, and that's when it was kind of born. So in 2011 we had the second, or really the original Foodstock, if you will, and we put together a goal of 10,000 pounds. And we gathered 13,000 pounds. That year I think we had 2 or 3 bands that played.
Now if I interrupt, didn't Bob build a mini stage in his backyard just for the bands, just for Foodstock?
True. Again, I want to give credit where credit's due. I don't know whether Bob really could build the stage.
Well,
but,
someone built the stage.
Somebody built the stage. Henry Lupus again put together a small stage, and it just the things that were necessary to run the event grew over the course of time. The stage being one of them, banners, etc., came on as the organization grew. But again, the second year we did 10,000, we raised 13. Well, this is simple enough. And then it really kind of took off. We decided as a group, and it's an interesting group of neighbors and friends that have gotten together to do this. They come from all different walks of life, but together they really kind of make up a nice group. And we really decided that at that point we were really moving forward with this. So the second year we decided we were going to raise 10,000 pounds. We got 13. 20 in the next year, raised 23. 30 in the next year, raised 36.
Just for the viewers, I arrived at my first Foodstock event, I believe it was 2012. 20 Randolph Road, I live in Longview, so it's right down the road, down the highway. And I pull in, and the cars went the whole length of the road, of the street. And there was probably 100 people in the backyard. And then, thank God Bob has a decent sized backyard, and his neighbors like him because they were spilling over into the back. And I'm standing there in the front talking to Bob and you and whoever came by, and this gentleman pulls up in a car, runs up and he goes, I'm sorry, am I at Foodstock? And I said, yes. Well, I'm here I have a check. And I said, well, I'm not a Foodstock person, I'm merely a guest, but here's Bob Swisher, he can help you. And the gentleman walks over to Bob and he goes, I'm from Middletown, shakes his hand, and he says, "You're doing a wonderful thing here. Quite honestly, I don't know what you're doing, but my wife said, this is an amazing grassroots organization, give them money." So here I'm giving you a check. I think it was for $1,000.
I remember.
And I remember Bob going, "Well, stay, have something to eat, listen to music." No, I don't have time. I'm very rarely home. My wife sent me down here to drop this off. We thank you for what you're doing for your community and for Monmouth County as a whole. And then he sped away. And I'll never forget that. I'm standing there like this in awe. Oh my gosh. So and this was only 2 or 3 years. Facebook, it wasn't a Facebook thing yet.
Sure.
It wasn't social mediaized, if that's such a word.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
That was at the beginning. But again, we kept increasing the values each year, and we made it each year. We made our goal. And I think it was in year 5, maybe we went for 50,000. We were a little bit short, 46. And then this last year, we had a goal of 60,000. We were just short of it. So we broke the 50,000 pound barrier this year. And, that's really been key to us. But I just to circle back a little bit, as important as the food is, okay, to gather, it's including the kids, which is the second part of our mission statement.
Yes, I was going to jump into that. We can't ignore how you, and I don't want to steal your thunder, how you guys have engaged the young people.
Mm-hmm.
Most young people, not to pick on young people, but they're self-absorbed. They're worried about their friends and today Snapchat and all those things, and they don't see the big picture.
Right.
And you pull up to your event, and I know when we pull up to Freehold Township, I think the average age is 16.
Right.
They descend in your car.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you have food? You open your trunk, you open your tent, they empty it out,
Sure.
and they're stacking the trucks.
Yep.
It just, so I don't want to steal your thunder, so go ahead and tell the audience about the
would
young people.
I would say at the beginning, with the size of our group and the size of our committee, it was mainly at the very beginning, our children that were involved, and it's another great story that's evolved along the way. My daughter Jillian, maybe second year in, we would take the stuff down to the food bank, and she volunteered, and she came back that day, and she was, I think, 10 at the time. And I said, "Well, how did it go?" And she said, "Daddy, I see the world through new eyes now." And it was just such a deep thing for a 10-year-old kid to say. And I can tell you that for my 2 daughters, they've gone through it the entire time because they've had to. It's been a great experience for them. And as the organization evolved, okay, more and more kids started to participate in it as well, which was basically our plan and our mission statement from the beginning. And now, as you say, when we have our event in October, we probably have over 100 volunteers that participate on the day of the event. And there's a couple of other things I'll get into later, ways that the kids can get involved in the different things they can do. And of course, these days, community service, community service hours is at a premium, and it's a great way to get them. We've got plenty of work to do, and I think it's a really great influence on the kids. I can speak for my own children and for my nieces and nephews and close friends and their children, and it's been a great influence on them, even on their college applications when they end up putting them in. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Well, tell about the link you have with the schools.
Okay.
The only reason I'm saying it is this year, past fall, I was coming home, and there's this mom in her car, and she had 2 young kids run out of the car, dropping off Foodstock bags.
Sure.
Okay. And I didn't know at first what to do. I'm going, what are these people doing? And the kids jump in the car, mom moves down a block, or a couple houses down, they run out and do the same thing again. So talk about that, because that's as important to the young people as them
Sure.
showing up the big day.
Absolutely. So again, just to talk about, we do have our big day each year in October.
It's the Saturday before Columbus Day?
Saturday before Columbus Day. I believe it's the 13th this year.
Yes, it is. It's according to the Facebook page.
Fantastic. 13th of October is our big day where we have our big event right next to Town Hall here, and we collect our food. But there's other ways that we gather food, and they all kind of include the children. Maybe in the second or third year, we instituted what we call the neighborhood drop, where we actually go out and we've actually cut up the township of Freehold into different areas and different neighborhoods, and we assign people to them, adults and children, and they go out and they hang bags, paper bags, on the mailbox, and with a letter that says basically, hey, listen, it's Tuesday, we're going to come back Friday. Any loose cans you might have in your house, I mean, everybody out there has a couple of cans of soup or whatever that maybe have been sitting there for a little while. They're not going to eat them, probably low sodium, for all I know, right? Okay. You can put those in the bag, non-perishables, and then they come back around on maybe 2 or 3 days later, and they collect them again. It's very labor intensive, okay? There's a lot of running to do, and it's
perfectly designed for younger people.
It truly is, and it's supervised. There's adults with them at all times, etc. But it really works out well for the kids. In addition to the neighborhood drop, we also go into the schools. This was an idea, I can't remember, I don't want to give credit where credit's due. I think it was Dee Trainer, one of our...
Who's a teacher?
Who's a teacher, and came up with the idea of going into the schools, and we give out the rubber bracelets, okay, the Live Strong bracelets. They say Foodstock. They're tie-dye, just like our kind of our motif is. And for 3 cans of food, you get a rubber bracelet, and we thought this was a great idea. It was really a great idea because the kids kept coming back with more cans so they get more bracelets on.
And then it becomes a status thing at school. Look, I got 5, 6 bracelets.
And I'll tell you what, we've done such a great job. Liz Duffy's our coordinator for that, and she's done such a great job organizationally. I think that we collected close, and I'm going to get this wrong, Liz, so forgive me, close to 10,000 pounds of food alone with the neighborhood drops last year. And in the schools, we probably at least get, say, 4,000 or 5,000 pounds of food out of the schools. And we pretty much have included all schools in the township, and I think we even had some borough schools last year. And we certainly thank Ross Kaysen, has been tremendous to us. I really appreciate all his assistance in this, and the local PTOs, etc., that kind of take it on. But a lot of the schools have actually, when we collect the food there, the kids will take it themselves to the food bank. And I think that it's critical because it's fun for these kids.
Well, they don't know it exists.
Right. They need to see the end purpose to it. And that really, like I said, even with the story about my younger daughter, it really kind of locks it in as to why we're doing this and who these people are. Because, at the end of this, there's need out there, okay? And particularly one of the things that drives me in particular is the fact that there's kids out there that don't have food to no fault of their own.
Right.
And they're going hungry. This is a community effort. We have to do this as a community. It's important to kind of take on that responsibility and to teach the young kids that it's their responsibility as well.
How many adults make up the committee, roughly? Because I have a side story to share with the audience on that.
Okay.
After you tell me how many adults set up the
tell me what the story is.
Well, I walked into Bob's kitchen, Bob, your brother's kitchen, several years ago, and he had the largest kitchen table I ever saw.
Yeah.
So I said, what do you, his kids are almost gone except for his youngest. I said, why do you have such, I think it's seat 16. He says, we had this kitchen expanded for our Foodstock meetings, okay? And we have this many members of the committee, sometimes more than this,
Yeah.
and I figure we have this big giant table and we sit at, Tom, it's homegrown.
Yeah.
We're not gonna build fancy buildings, rent space, we just do it in my kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a table to accommodate it, and I'm like, oh my God.
I'll say this, that the committee has expanded over the course of time, and we seem to add a couple of new people each year, which is great. I'd say that the number of people that attend our meetings, we probably have probably 6, 7, 8 meetings between, say, the beginning of May and the event in October. And the committee can range in size anywhere from, say, 12 people a meeting up to maybe 20 people at a meeting. And so it is nice that he has this big farm table that we kind of sit around, and it's a great dynamic where people are just basically throwing out ideas. At this point, going into now our 8th year, we kind of have it down to a certain degree, but everybody's always bringing a new idea, a new way to go about doing what we're doing, or to improve what we've done in the past. And but we're always looking, and one of the things I want to talk about tonight is if there's anybody out there that truly wants to get involved in the organization. There's a variety of ways to get involved, but somebody that really wants to take it on and become involved in the committee, we're always interested. And you can reach out. We're going to give out the website later on and all the information as to how to contact us. And we're always looking for new ideas and new members that really want to, kind of take up our mission.
Well, and it's funny, I had a meeting today in the city, I work in the city, and I had a meeting with a guy who handles one of our service lines, and he's from Freehold Township, and he says, Tom, I was telling him I was meeting with you tonight about Foodstock. He says, my kids always talk about Foodstock. They want to get involved. What do I have to do? And I said, well, listen, I don't want you to wait for the video or this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow when I get back in the office, I'll send you the link and you can connect. Their youngest is an 8th grader, and I believe his daughter's a junior.
Yep.
Perfect age.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
And he says they want to get involved. We want to get involved,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's a great thing. And I said, absolutely. They'll welcome you with open arms. So that's good.
It is a great thing, and like I said, it seems each year we kind of get some new people involved, and people have kind of cycled through as their kids have gone through school, and it seems we always have like replacements because the people want to get involved. But again, I kind of always say that for us in particular, it was kind of a realization that in our lives, things had gone pretty well and it was time to give back. And different people get there at different times in their lives. But there may be people out there tonight that are even watching this to say, you know something, I'm looking to do something, I just don't know what to do. This might be an avenue for you to pursue. And like I said, we would welcome you with open arms, no doubt about that.
Well, and the other thing is, several years ago, we put boxes here in Freehold Township at the senior center, at the rec center, at the office. The employees of Freehold Township are great and fill the boxes up. You guys come back and pick them up. The senior center, I remember when we first put them in there, some of the seniors would go, "What is this?" And they would explain it's food being collected, and they were great. They would go home, go to the grocery store, whatever day they go to the grocery store, come back for a senior citizen event, senior center event, and just put the stuff in, you know, the canned goods or whatever. So that worked out very nice.
Well, yeah, it's a great point. There's different ways. Some of the other ways that we collect food is we do have little mini corporate drives. Okay, so we have members of our committee and other people that we've run into over the course of time that will go to their business and actually have a little mini drive there. And we had a couple that were extremely successful this year and took in 1,000 pounds. That's just tremendous. But even if you could raise 200 pounds, and you could go into your office and just say, listen, I'm gonna do this Foodstock food drive. We'll help you. We'll set you up. We'll give you the materials, and you can go out and do it.
Heck, 100 pounds, 50 pounds.
Everything counts. You talk about stories. We had a woman that came to our event in October, and she had given us a bag. She had actually given the bag during the food drop, and she had written a note on the bag saying that it wasn't long ago that she was in the boat that she needed food like this. And now it was nice that she could put a couple of items in the bag. We actually have it. We saved the bag and we have it at home.
Oh, that's great.
As one of our kind of mementos from the thing. But it doesn't matter if you can afford 2 cans. That's tremendous. It's 2 more cans than we had before. It's not necessarily, you don't have to raise these large amounts. Of course, we like the large amounts, but everything counts. Every single one of them counts.
Now you collect all this food. Tell the audience, where does it go?
So right now, most of the food right now goes to Open Door and Freehold and to Lunch Break in Red Bank. But at the same time, we have folks for instance, I know schools in Woodbridge do some collections. They give it to the local pantries in Woodbridge. We've been lucky enough to expand and kind of model Foodstock and take it out across New Jersey, whereas the city of Rahway ran a Foodstock. It went to the local pantries in Rahway. Red Bank, Lunch Break down there, they ran their own Foodstock. It went to their pantry. I actually have a couple of cousins in North Jersey that have started their own Foodstock up there. They support their pantry. So if somebody was watching this that was not in Freehold and wanted to support their own pantry and whatever it might be in Howell and Jackson and Manalapan and whatever it might be, talk to us. Okay, we're happy to include you under our umbrella, give you what we've learned so far, and give it. There's need everywhere.
We have 7+ years of experience, and every year, I mean, just for the audience purposes, they've gotten so large now they can't have the October event in Bob's house. And on behalf,
Bob's wife saw to that.
Well, in behalf of Bob's neighbors, thank you. They've moved it temporarily to one venue, and now we have it here at Freehold Township. And we're going to re-meet again. Probably it won't be me, perhaps, but maybe Lester or Barbara in September. Sure. To remind viewers about October's event, because they'll forget between now and then. It's truly, even if you just want to drive by, drop off 10 pounds, 15, 20 pounds of food, and then go listen to the music. Yeah. Not listen to music, hang out with friends. It could be a drive-by. You just drop the food off and leave. It's okay too. But it's an experience in and of itself, just pulling in, especially if you work with children, if you're a teacher, even if you're not a teacher here, and you want to see young people fully engaged. It always amazes me. I pull up and how they just descend, as I mentioned, and then they're on the trucks and they're loading the big sure. giant truck, and sure. And they're all young. They're all 25 or younger, and they're running around, and then the young people that run around with the food, Butler style food, which are like little pigs in the blanket, and they appear out of nowhere. So it's really, and then to see your mom dancing and pulling people out of the audience to dance to the band music is cool. But let's talk about February's event, because that's around the corner. It's less than a month away. Sure. And one, about the event, and two, why you have the event, the proceeds from the event, what we do with it.
Okay, so as we got the Foodstock event in October kind of under our belts, one of our members had an idea to do like a little cocktail party, and we called it Snowball, and I guess we're on our 4th Snowball this year, and basically it's just a cocktail party where we have basket raffles, and there's some food and drinks, of course, open bar this year. We went away from open bar last year. We've learned from our mistake, and now there will be
Not a
open bar
mistake,
again.
just an oversight. It's part of the evolution.
We're learning. And basically it's a cocktail party, and there's, of course, music. All Foodstock events have music, and I should give a shout out to Twice as Good, which is the house band of Foodstock.
Yeah, Bob referred to that in the email. I said, that's a great way to call it. It's the house band of Foodstock.
They truly, Bob Bridgman, who is one of our committee members, has been in this band in its various iterations over the course of the Foodstock's life. And they have played at every Foodstock event for zero. They played for free. And different people have come in and out of the band over the course of time. But I can't thank them enough. They've just done a fantastic job. They do play at the cabin periodically, Twice as Good, so please do look for them and support them because they've really supported us. But there'll be music at the event. It's going to be at Aram in Freehold Borough. It's going to be on the 23rd.
February 23rd.
February 23rd, and it's $65. And that's going to give you open bar, food. It's not a sit-down dinner, but there'll be like, you know, appetizers, late hors d'oeuvres, and music, and basket raffles. And we've got some great raffles already. You can go online at, let me just see if I can say this right, foodstocknj.org. Don't forget the NJ.
Or the .org, because people put .com and say
True.
it's not connected.
True. And we have a Billy Joel basket, a bottle of red and a bottle of white with tickets to go see Billy Joel. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones off the top of my head, and I can't remember.
Well, it's funny, for the
there's
audience,
some good stuff on there, no doubt.
if you go to your website, I was on it last week, I forget why I went on, I said, let me look at Snowball. I think I wanted to get the date down. And very well done in terms of, you talk about the event, the why you do it, but then the baskets and all the things are at the bottom where you can buy it all in advance before you even arrive. You can buy your tickets, you can buy your raffle tickets, you buy your entrance, you can even bid, or I don't know, bid or whatever. It's just, it's so easy. Point, click, hey, I want Billy Joel, buy tickets, you know, get tickets there, get there. So much easier than when you run in and then first you walk through baskets and you got to introduce yourself to the baskets. A lot of people like myself go, I want specific baskets. You know, I want the Billy Joel tickets. I want this ticket. So that's all I go for. I don't need all the other things. Right. That's a good element. What do you do with the proceeds from Snowball? Obviously, there's expenses. You got to pay the hall, pay for the gifts and everything else.
Absolutely. We've been able to generate close to $10,000 each year that we've kind of done the Snowball. Some years have been a little bit better than others. We basically split those proceeds between Open Door and Lunch Break in Red Bank. So they're getting checks for that money. Which is great because although food is very important, obviously, to these food banks in order to be able to operate, having money, when things get tight, they go to the county food bank and they actually buy food from the county food bank. So actually to have cash as well is also important to them. So that's basically where the proceeds go. But it's a great time. There's dancing, you know, the people is a great crowd. Okay, in Aram, we were at the iPlay for many, couple of years. We thank them for their help, and we've gone to kind of a smaller place. It's going to be a little bit more intimate this year, which I think is going to be very cool. And we're looking forward to a really great time. You know, we have seating capacity, I think, of like 250, something like that. So get your tickets, because I think it could get very tight. So get there and buy them in advance if you can. Gives us a better opportunity to get a head count as well.
Right. Well, it's helpful for you guys. Yeah. And the irony is, when you have events, not you personally, but every event like this, people will buy the tickets the week of. Most probably 2 to 3 days before. I remember talking to Bob over there. Tom, we only have 35 tickets. I said, Bob, relax. People will buy at the end, but that's okay. It just helps, makes planning a little bit more challenging. But I always told Bob, relax, Bob. Just relax. You'll be fine. So, and you've had 4 of these, or this will be the 4th one, so it's worked out very well.
Fantastic. The other event that we do, so there's really 3 events that we do. We do the event in October, the Snowball that we just talked about, and then also in June of this year, and actually I just booked the date today, June 22nd, we have our golf outing, which again
I forgot all about the golf outing. I do the signs for the golf outing. I forgot all about the
signs. And it's going to be at Pebble Creek again. They've been great to us there. And we're going to do it again. We still have to set the pricing and whatever for it, but you can look on the website. That'll be up shortly, where we've had a really great turnout. This will be the 3rd golf outing, and we get, you know, I think we got 105, 110 golfers last year. And again, the proceeds are then split between the food banks, and we did very well with that. We had, you know, the 50-50, etc. Some prizes, another good time. So that will be on June 22nd of this year, but. that basically comprises our schedule. The only other event that we do is not really a fundraising event. We do the Memorial Day Parade in the borough, and we have a float, which again has music on it. We play music as we go up and down and hand out literature. It's more just kind of a getting the name out there type of event, but the kids participate in that. It's a lot of fun. It was a real success for us this year. But another thing that the kids get involved in.
I walk in the parade every year since I've become an elected official, but years ago, I've been going to the Memorial Day Parade in Freehold Borough since I've lived here my whole life. And all I ever wanted to do was walk in the parade. Right. And we never did, because we just never had the opportunity. But years ago, when I was on the soccer league board, they asked the soccer league to be in the parade, and we got to walk in it. And I was, I don't know, 45 years old. It was awesome. Yeah, okay,
it's a really good time.
It's not that long a walk,
yep.
And people were excited, but we had a lot of kids with us, and they just had a great time.
Absolutely.
And they go to school on Monday and say, "Did you see me in the parade?" So
absolutely.
That's kind of a nice thing. Tell people about the shirt and the logo.
The shirt and the logo. Okay, so each year we have a different color shirt. You can see obviously that it's tie-dye, which is the peace, love, and food concept that we have. And the Foodstock logo, which has the peace sign in the zero. I'm not exactly sure when the zero goes away, what we'll do, but we'll figure something out certainly. But it's been a different color each year, and on the back we have all of our sponsors. We've been very fortunate. We've had sponsors that have been really with us since the first year that we had shirts, and it's great. We're always looking for sponsors. If anybody out there in a local business would like to get onto the back of our t-shirt, they can contact us as well. I should mention that we are a 501c3 company, so any contribution is tax deductible, and that is an important thing. We got that in our third year, and that really did help out in terms of getting cash donations.
Right.
So that's an important thing to note. But probably one of the biggest arguments we have each year is what color the shirts will be. And it takes a lot of time at the meetings.
It does. I have to tell you, when I was actively involved with the Grand Preston Soccer Marathon, every year was a different colored shirt. Okay. We literally would meet once a month for 3 to 6 months before the event, and it would take till the third month to get the color nailed down. We had swatches and arguments. I didn't care, but the young people cared, and Maureen Fasano, she cared, and every year they nailed it, and you guys always nail it.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
I just think another little side story. Years ago, a couple times ago, when Bob had it in his yard, somebody bought a drone with a camera,
yep.
And you had everyone stand and then walk backwards in the symbol of the peace sign, right, with the drone.
Yep.
And then you could play it forward and backwards real fast.
Yes. And
I remember seeing that on your Facebook page, and I said, I was there for that, and I stood and I said, this is neat. Yeah. And this is before drones were as popular as they are today.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, once again, somebody just came up with that idea maybe a week before. He'd gotten a drone, Bob Bridgman, and he goes, well, we're going to do this. And I'm like, we don't know what we're doing with this. And he put it together. We spray painted the peace sign in it, and it's beautiful. It's on the website. It's one of the neatest things on there, I think. If you look very carefully, somebody actually trips over a cooler, actually, as they're backing into it, so you can look for that.
I'll have to look for that now.
Yeah, it's a hidden treasure. And but little things like that come up, but it just kind of adds to the whole kind of event, I think. And we always try to put a little something in there, whether it's my mother dancing at the event, which is always fun to see.
I saw her last year. I was trying to head out. I'd been there for a few hours, and it was time to go. And she's yanking this person out of the chair. I don't know if she knew him or not.
Yeah, probably not.
And her mom is probably well over 60.
And she'll be happy to hear that.
And she's pulling this man out of the chair, and he didn't want to get up. He got up and he started dancing.
She's persistent.
Well, the music was, was great. This past year, you had like 3 or 4 different bands, right?
Sure, we're very lucky. Actually, my daughter's a cappella group, Rock and Roll Chorus, performed, and of course our house band, Twice as Good, and then we had a couple other bands that were up there as well. Actually, we had Eddie Testa.
You had Eddie Testa came in?
Which was very nice. He's a great guy. We're hoping to get him back again this year. Very supportive of us. But just to just touch on the event, the day of event, just to give people an idea, you pull up in your car with your food, and as Tom says, the kids will surround your car and pull the food out. They take it to a boxing area where the kids box the food. Then somebody else takes it and they have to put it onto the tractor trailer.
But they weigh it.
They weigh it first, because if you bring 50 pounds of food, you get a ticket to be involved in raffles for Giants and Jet tickets and such. You bring 100 pounds of food, you get to get those tickets, and you get to ring the gong.
The gong is awesome.
And then if you bring over 350 pounds of food, you get to go into what's called Club 350, which is kind of an upgraded tent. when you come in, you get beer and sangria and food all donated.
Right.
Okay, but if you get into Club 350, we've got TVs in there. You get upgraded drinks. There's cigars. There's waitress service, and that's been really.
And they have a nice porta potty.
Yes,
I
they have
can
a nice
attest to the porta potty.
Very nice. Donated again,
Yeah.
and that was a big hit for us. And all of a sudden, we started getting these folks that are bringing large amounts of food. I'll give you an example. My brother Bob's son Michael actually did kind of a GoFundMe page where his friends, his college friends, and his work friends all contributed money, and he went out to Sam's Club or BJ's, whatever it might have been, and they bought, and I think they were over 1,500 pounds of food.
Yeah, well, because I remember Bob telling me the story. They called Sam's Club. He says, we need pallets of food.
Sure.
We've got this much money to spend.
Right.
Whatever that gets us, we need your pallets delivered over here to the truck.
Yep.
And it was X number of guys divided by the weight, and it all qualified them so they could spend the whole day in the Club 350.
Yes.
And the reason, I don't want this to get missed, but the Club 350 was to encourage individuals who might donate 300 pounds to donate 350.
Right.
I mean, if you're like my wife and I, we're driving through Sam's Club with the cart, and we kind of fill the cart up till I can't push it anymore. I said, all right, we're good, okay? But perhaps if I want to get in Club 350, I'll fill up a second cart. Okay, it's a good cause.
It's funny, Tom. My wife and I go each year, and we play a little game where we'll figure out what we're going to do and what we're going to donate. And I'll have my phone and I keep the weight, and she has her phone and she'll keep the price. And we try and stay within our budget and buy what we can to get to our goal. Bearing in mind, and it's important to note that you do want to try and buy healthy food, okay? Soup is great. Any food is great at the end of the day. But obviously soup and the such is filled with sodium. And Margie Yan, who's your health officer, has come out and worked with us and given us lists of things that are healthier to bring.
So well, it's fun. I hate to, but when we were buying the soup, I went and got low sodium.
Good
okay?
man.
I didn't even know there was low sodium soup,
there
but we were
go.
looking. I said to my wife, we got to get healthy food. Soup is great because I love soup. We got to get the low sodium, and we found it. Got a couple cases.
Sure.
That's how it works. That's
sure.
good.
I mean, I should say that one thing we don't. It's not that we're going to not accept water, but water is not necessarily what we're looking for because people will show up with cases and cases of water, which it doesn't hurt, but we're looking for food. That's really what the goal is here. But yeah, we got a bunch of big donors last year into Club 350, and most of the folks said if they had known, they would have bought more. They didn't understand how much food to bring. And so what we've done is we've created some goals for them to hit. And listen, bring more than 300. Like I said, my nephew came in with over 1,500 pounds. Our largest donor last year, I think, had 2,000 pounds of food.
Really, an individual.
Individual. I think he took 3 trips in his car to bring the food over. So I think he was our largest individual donor. We've had some corporate success in the past. The Goya has helped us out a little bit. Kraft Foods has helped us out a little bit. If there's anybody out there with a corporate connection, I would encourage them to get in touch with us. Every little bit helps. I mean, we're really more about shaking loose the cans that are in somebody's house as opposed to the big corporate donations. Most of these corporations are doing good work anyhow. But if you do know somebody and they want to get involved with us, we certainly wouldn't turn it away.
So the most important takeaway today is the Foodstock webpage.
Absolutely.
www.foodstocknj.org. There's a Facebook page as well, and all the information is there.
Absolutely.
And if you have a question and you can't get a hold of someone from the website, you can always call Town Hall. They will get you connected with me or whoever, and we will get you connected. That shouldn't be a problem in this day and age.
It shouldn't be a problem. I'll give out, we do have an email address as well. It is foodstocknj@gmail.com. You can reach out for us there. Somebody will get back to you. We do monitor it. But hopefully by coming on today, and I got to finish up by saying thank you very much for giving us the opportunity. We're very blessed. Government in general has helped us both in the borough, but particularly in the township, and particularly over the last couple of years as we moved our event over here. The Township Committee has been in full support of us, and we really appreciate it. We've been able to grow the October event by leaps and bounds over the last 2 years, and a lot of that is attributable to your help and even just giving us ideas as to what to do. Each one of you, we really thank you for that.
Yeah,
it's made a big difference.
And I appreciate it. And on behalf of the Township Committee, we're honored to help. All we can provide you is the space.
Yep.
And thanks to Independent Firehouse, which helps us out, they rearranged our whole parking lot to accommodate all the vehicles, so we don't inhibit fire safety.
Absolutely.
Come in.
They've been tremendous. I got to tell you, the folks over there just fantastic to us, very accommodating. and really just, they would pitch in, they do just about anything for us. So it's been a great relationship, no doubt about
And
it.
they sit there and listen to music, they sit in the fire truck,
They
they
do.
put the big ladder up with the flag, it's kind of very patriotic.
We've talked about this year, them doing even more in terms of fire safety and fire prevention and kind of coupling it up with our event. We look forward to kind of engaging
Right,
them
because
in
there's a
that.
lot of little kids there,
Sure.
and even younger kids, you know, not toddlers, but a little older than that, middle school, elementary school kids.
Sure.
And that's the perfect age to start
It really
talking
is.
about fire safety.
Perfect.
All right, well, I thank you for being on here, and I thank the residents of Freehold Township for all their donations so far to Foodstock and all the other charities we all donate to in our community. And hopefully you can all go there on February 23rd. And if you have time to give, go to the website. Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you.
On behalf of Mayor Anthony Amiano, Committeeman Lester Preston, Committeeman David Salkin, and Committeewoman Barb McMorrow, we thank everyone for their time in watching this, and hopefully spending some time, donate some food to Foodstock this year. Thank you.